Sanibonani, Dumelang, Goeiemorgen, good morning. Welcome to Power Talk with me, Mbuyiseni Ndlozi. I want to give a shout out to Nhlanhla Sihume, who stood in for us yesterday. Very great show. And it's a beautiful morning indeed here in Johannesburg. We are right into the Human Rights Month, which centers around the tragedy of 1960, where our people who were protesting against the Dompas were shot brutally by the murderous apartheid regime. This is important because human rights, quite frankly, centers precisely on the rights of Black people in this context to exist, their dignity to be recognized, their right to move or to the freedom of movement. And what is important to remember here is that Sharpeville was the way in which people of the world got to know about us, about our struggle, and it was the beginning of the greatest human rights campaign in the history of humanity, the anti-apartheid movement, the international anti-apartheid movement. The legacy of this movement, the values it represents, Sharpeville is under threat today with the rise of right-wing extremism, populism across the world, facilitated in particular now by the leader of the United States. So we've got to tease out yet again our place in the world. Perhaps we need to reconnect with our friends in the world like we did from the days of Sharpeville, the days of 1976, the days of the Val Uprising, up until the victory of that particular movement in 1994. So welcome to Power Talk with me, Mbuyiseni Ndlozi. Later in the show today, we are speaking human consumer rights, and these consumer rights, we want to posit them as important human rights. We're speaking to the Ombudsman and Consumer Goods and Services Ombudsman, CEO Queen Munyai, Senior Education and Communications Officer at the National Credit Regulator. It's going to be a very interactive show. You want to interact with them, please call in. And as you know, we start with the open line in this hour, 0861987000. That's the studio line. Our WhatsApp line, 083-303-703. Join the conversation on all social media platforms using the hashtag Power Talk. And I'm going to repeat, we're taking your calls on 0861987000. You can send voice notes or messages on WhatsApp line 0833037093. It's the open lines. Let's hear what you have on your head, what you have on your mind this morning. Too much is happening in the world. The Qatar head of state facilitating talks in Qatar between the president of the DRC and the president of Rwanda. We've got the release of JFK files in the United States. The Jocelyn Smith case is still ongoing. A lot is happening. What you have in mind? The Gauteng budget was presented yesterday. What do you have in mind? Tell us what you think. Call in 0861987000. And before we take your calls, here is our Wednesday tune.